Good morning, good evening, good afternoon, grand rising. Whenever you're seeing this, I am Yoga Choker Pose, aka Dark Yogi, aka Dragonfly. And today, or whenever you're seeing this, I'm basically giving you an introduction to who I am and why, how I'm doing the work that I do. You know, a lot of people be talking about shadow work. And I won't say that it's become trendy. That's not even what this is about. Let me bring it back to me. Trigger warning. I am a survivor of sexual trauma, sexual abuse, sexual assault, childhood abandonment issues. All the things of a little black child growing up in the Americas, growing up in the influence of westernized culture, if you will. I'm sure not all black children have experienced sexual abuse or sexual trauma or, you know, any level of abandonment in their youth. But this is who I'm speaking to. So if what I talk about, if it doesn't apply, let that shit fly. I ain't talking to you. But if you know somebody who has experienced this shit and you want to know how to support them, just sit back and listen. Okay? All right, let's get into it. So my earliest memory of being fondled by someone was between the ages of 3 and 4 years old. And then my next memories were actually all of the sexual abuse and sexual assault from the outside in, not me attracting them to me later on in life. Cycles and patterns. Get to that later. In terms of being a victim, of being on the receiving end of molestation and rape, that was from the ages of 3 all the way up to 12, off and on, different people, male or female. Okay? And I want to make a clear distinction. So you have genitalia exploration that happens between children. Okay? Children, they always touching shit. Whether it's themselves, random shit in the stores, putting shit in their mouth. Like, they're brand new, they're fresh. Their skin is not desensitized to simple touch like our adult bodies. And I think we grow up and we forget what it was like to be a child. So certain sounds are amplified, you know, to children, but to us it's like it's a whisper. So when I talk about myself in terms of my child self, child versus child, I perceive that now as more of an exploration versus molestation. Personal, okay? But then you have the aspects of adult versus child, or there's this large age gap. Let's say you have a teenager fondling a more someone that's still in the developmental stages of child growth and development. That's different. That's molestation. This isn't just exploring, like, oh my God, does yours look like mine? Like, oh, exploring. There's a difference. There's a clear distinction between the two. Okay? Now, I have experienced child as a child. Again, let me drive that home. As a child, I have experienced a lot of curious and explorative children as a child, okay? And I, majority of the time, was, say 9 times out of 10, if there were 10 children, 9 of them were drawn to exploring me. Now, the 10th child, I went into exploration mode with another child. And what I, from my own observation, is that I know the difference between just exploring and possession. This was probably not my first encounter with possession. I was under 10. I remember that much. The other child, she probably was about 5. I'm not sure. But I had, and I'm not sure what it was about this particular night. That part is still unclear. But what I do remember is while I was exploring her, I looked up and I looked into her eyes and I snapped out of it. Because it was like, oh shit, I see myself. She had this look of, what the fuck is going on? And it brought me back into my body. And that's when I made the decision that was not going to happen again. Now, in an attempt to be hyper vigilant, if you will, or hyper vigilant, just to ensure that was never going to happen, I subconsciously switched into perpetual victim mode. Like, I'm never going to initiate intimacy with my partners ever again. And sure as shit stank, that would be the pattern for the next 20 plus years of my life. And then the final attack on my person, when I was between 12 and 14, I was molested by the middle school principal in Marianna, Arkansas, Arthur Sanders. It's on record. And I'm the reason he is no longer a principal. You're welcome. So Arthur Sanders had been molesting children. I believe he's still alive. He's a career pedophile. Like, he has a history. Actually, they moved him from the high school because they had him on tape. They moved him from the high school to the middle school so that he wouldn't be enticed. It didn't work. Okay? Some people are child predators and molesters. And I really wanted to make a distinction here because, you know, a lot of you all have children. And you walk in and you witness things and you see things or you hear things and you panic. You go into fight or flight or freeze. And you don't know what to do. Take a step back, breathe, and assess the situation. You need to figure out whether this was just child exploration. Don't automatically jump into shaming them and beating them, because then that's where I come in. Eventually they be into some kink and BDSM shit, and I gotta help walk them through. I don't mind it. Just, anyway. But they can also become attracted to a certain type of energy or vibe that's attached to that event. And they'll continue to perpetuate that cycle. They'll keep attracting people that come at them with rage and, oh, you did this, and they constantly replay that in their mind. Same thing that goes for people who witnessed domestic violence. You either hit one end of the spectrum. I will never abuse my spouse. I will never abuse my child. And next thing you know, they're a doormat. Or the other end of the spectrum is like, yeah, this is how you show love. If I ain't getting hit, then I ain't getting love. If I don't hit you, that means I don't love you. So, one thing that I learned from Arthur Sanders is just because you are placed in a position of power, that don't mean shit. That don't mean a goddamn thing. Most people that are in positions of power or perceived power are weaker than wet toilet paper. And you hate to see it because, a lot of people flock to them, and because they too want to be perceived as powerful or affiliated with power, So I too must possess. But I'm grateful for Arthur Sanders, because when he molested me for that final time, well, he was gradually grooming me. It would start with like this rubbing, touching the shoulder, rubbing my back, So, and later on it progressed. And each time he would touch me, you get that really icky fucking feeling, like you're dirty, or it's just something that's just like, ugh. It's repulsive, yeah? Now, mind you, I was already experiencing possession by the time I got to middle school. Like, I was already absorbing and feeling entities and energies and experiencing like walk-ins and stuff like that. So, but it was more along the lines of rage. I would have a lot of bouts with rage more than anything. because I've been battling these entities for a really long time. Ever since I decided, when I looked in her eyes and saw myself and snapped out of it, we've been battling. And I'm winning, nigga. We winning. We winning. We up. But I digress. But every time he would touch me, I would absorb the pain of the last victim. And I would continue to carry that with me for the next 20 fucking years. I was carrying all those victims. He basically did an energy transfer. He moved it from all of his karma. He placed it onto my back. Now, had I decided to allow that entity to stick with me back when I made that decision of, nah, this ain't who I am, maybe life would have been different. Maybe I would have went the route of R. Kelly or whoever female that hasn't came out publicly yet, that they were hoarding victims and doing all types of shit. Maybe it would have turned into that. Maybe I would have had fame. Maybe I would have had more power, perceived power, had I chose. Had I not been strong enough or built a certain way to be like, I know an entity when I see one. I know an entity when I hear one. I hear them circling your children. The first time I heard it as an adult, it scared the fuck out of me. But because of what I experienced as a child, I knew they weren't my thoughts. Ain't no way that I would prey on innocence of anybody or anything. I'm just not cut like that. Now, some people are. And that's all that they seek out. Whether it's subconscious or in the front of their mind, you know, but back to why I'm grateful for Arthur Sanders. He taught me the importance of integrity in your power, perceived power, positions of power, the people that you're affiliated with. Because some people power protects power. Somebody said something about power protecting power. And I was like, okay, that's how he was allowed to stay in power for so long. Yeah. Because other people were there. You know, he had the group home girls that was in and out. So it was like So it was hard to really pin anything on him because these are troubled children that he's worked with. I was considered a troubled child. When they put me on the stand, they tried to slander me and say all those types of things. But he taught me the importance of consent. I would end up in his office because, you know, I was lashing out because I missed my father, my great-grandfather, or my actual father, or I was longing for my mother. So I was seeking out, water seeks its own level, whether it's negative or positive. I was seeking true intimacy, true love, untainted love, but that's all he had to give. And it was a lot. And he poured it all over me. And I see it in y'all because I've seen myself. So this is why I do what I do and how I do it, and why I'm particular about my touch. Because I know what you've experienced to one degree or another. Otherwise, you wouldn't be drawn to me. But at the same time, if you're not ready for this healing, you're going to run back. You're going to run back to what's normal. And moving forward, y'all just got to pay me for that. I'm on my reparation shit. I've been battling demons and entities for a long fucking time. Fucking expert. And I'm going to teach you too. I'm going to teach you too. So, I'm no stranger to shadow work. I'm just now recognizing the light side of it. And it feels good. It feels good. These lessons that I've learned, they have been very pricey. They have wreaked havoc on my womb, my heart, my mind, my joints, from carrying this shit for so long. Fucking with my posture, my gut, learning how to trust it, putting all types of shit inside me because it feels good, surrounding myself with people because it just feels good or it looks good, wanting to feel something, chasing. But sometimes you gotta sit your ass down and quit running from and run into. No weed, no alcohol, no pills, no sex. Just you. And that's where the shibari comes in. I tie myself, I bind myself, I wear a corset to keep me, my energy, yeah. Now after this video, I'm gonna do some yoga. Because I want to make sure I keep moving this energy out of my body so it doesn't stagnate in my throat. So when people come with their comments of misunderstanding, I can still speak from a place of love and compassion and understanding. I'm a fucking warrior. I'm a fucking warrior. I am a fucking warrior. And you too can become a fucking pitch. But if you wanna learn how to stand up on your own too, no perpetual victims. No. For fuck's sake, no perpetual victims. If you working to get out of that and you mean that shit and you know you can be more, you know you can be stronger, you know there is more to you than just being a fucking doormat. Not saying you want to be bulldozing motherfuckers, but you know that there's a power inside of you, but you just don't know how to access it in a healthy way. Then you might be one of my people. You might be one of the people I'm here to help. If you're tired of being a victim, you trying to tap into that warrior, that love energy, that understanding, that compassion, not that doormat shit. Fuck with me. Fuck with me. There'll be a link in the description. If you want to start your consultations, you want to start with a chat. If you need to be tied up and flogged for your past transgressions or what you perceive as transgressions, and you want to speak and release what you have done, book